like to say on this podcast, we are welcoming back our favourite guests or some of our favourite guests to this show. Today, I really do mean it. Every other time I've lied. I don't actually like any of our other guests. The only two guests that I ever like on this podcast are our next two guests. They are history makers in Australia, the greatest curlers we have ever produced, competed at the Beijing Olympics in 2022 in the mixed doubles curling, and are on track to return to the Olympics next year in Milano, Cortina. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the show, Tahli Gill and Dean Hewitt. Guys, welcome back to Off the Podium.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we love this podcast.
Good. And we love you. There we go. We've settled it. That's it. That's all we wanted to get on here, is to inflate all our egos. We can now end the podcast on that note. It's actually the first time that we're doing this, that you guys are actually in the same room. Every time we've done this, it's over a Zoom call where sort of you're in different parts of the world, because you're speaking to us right now in beautiful Edmonton, Canada, which I'm sad now that Colin's not with us, because he's closer to you than I am in a certain way, different province. But anyway, how's Edmonton right now? I'm going to start off with a nice, simple question. Besides their sucky hockey team, how's the city at this present time?
It's actually warmed up a lot today. They kind of had a bit of a cold snap, which wasn't nice in March. But no, it's warmer now. It's in the positives, so that's more our comfort zone.
Right, just kind of keeping it that way. Dean, we were having a bit of a chat off air sort of about the hockey side of things, and as a Winnipeg Jets man, you're obviously very happy at this time of recording this. Do you like to give it a smack to some of the Oilers fans who maybe aren't there, not quite living up to expectations of what they achieved the previous season?
Well, I must admit, I made a terrible mistake. I booked flights back to Winnipeg for Thursday, and who's playing Winnipeg on Thursday? It's the Oilers. But where are they playing? In Edmonton. So I'm like, they leave literally on the day they're going to be playing each other in Edmonton. But yeah, I mean, the Jets are having a good year, and hopefully we can keep that going. We've had a struggle with the playoffs the last few years, but hopefully we can take the next step and knock those Oilers off.
I think all the neutrals like the Jets. I don't know if there's anybody out there who actually dislikes the Jets, right? I mean, they're a harmless team. Who hates the Winnipeg Jets? I don't even know.
I mean, you look at the license plates on the cars from Manitoba and it says friendly Manitoba, so you can't hate them, right? Exactly,
right? That's why we have Colin as a co-host on this show. We could have chosen a co-host from any other province of Canada, but we went with friendly Manitoba because they're meant to be friendly, and most of the time they are. But anyway, we're not here to talk about hockey. We're here to talk about curling and obviously what's happened in the last couple of years since we've had one. I just want to start off with, you guys are right now red hot form. Every single time I see your results, you are winning. You were just winning everything, it seems, to start off 2025. Go through some of these results. You've won in Denmark. You were 5th in Estonia. You won in Switzerland. You were 3rd in Canada. You won, I thought it was in Jamaica, but it was actually in Toronto, the Jamaica Cup. I mean, you guys are just absolutely kicking ass. So, I mean, 2025, guys, what have you been doing differently? Because you guys started this year quite well.
I think our season in general, because it sort of started September last year, we've just seemed to get on a roll, and we've got a full-time coach. So that's honestly been a really big game changer for us. He keeps us accountable. He keeps pushing us towards our goal, which is getting back to the Olympics and getting on the podium. So, I think honestly that's been our biggest game changer. And I think too, we're just at the stage where it's a lot of fine-tuning, and it's not making huge changes. It's just making those small 1% changes that have obviously helped our game a lot. So no complaints, not yet.
I got to check in with the coach side of things. Is this still John? Is this someone different? Kind of, and we going up against him again the Olympics again next year to beat him again, or how's that looking?
No, we've changed that. So our coach is a new coach for us, but he is not competing in any sort of curling. So we know that we won't be competing against our coach this time, which is a little bit of a relief. Although John was absolutely fantastic for us, I think it was time that we had someone that could be 100% in just for us. And that's what we've got this time with Perry. So we're really excited for that.
I mean, I'm somewhat disappointed because I still think that was one of the best stories ever of the last Olympics and Australian Olympic history. Again, I'm still waiting for the street parades that we beat Canada in curling at the Olympics. It's still got to happen at least one day, but maybe we can organise that. I mean, Dean, just touching on what Tahli said there, sort of how have you sort of found everything and the new coaching side of things and, just where you guys are at right now. Less than a year to go to the Olympics, of course.
Yeah, I think playing together since 2018 now, I think every year we've improved and we've kind of been on that cusp for a few years and breaking through, beating some good teams. And now I think it's just a matter of beating them more consistently now. And that's, I think, why we've brought up the ranking to second in the world and hopefully why we're going to win some more events leading up towards the Olympics to qualify. But it's just every year, I think we just sharpen up that little bit more. The consistency goes up. There's less chance of us losing against the lower ranked teams. And it's just starting to all come together now.
In terms of a season, so Tahli, you touched on that it obviously started in September. You guys are in Canada right now. We're world champs, obviously, in a little over a month, which we'll touch on as well. But sort of how long is a mixed curling season take place? Like how long does it generally go each year?
It feels like it gets longer every year. I don't know.
It's long.
It's like so long you don't even know.
I know. 7 months maybe?
We spend 7 months overseas for the season, but take a month off during December when some of the teams are still competing actually. So generally you start of September and you go through until the end of April. So mixed doubles is actually probably the longest season because it's the last event in the World Championship calendar.
Yeah.
It's quite long when you get to the end of April and you finally got to World Championship and then you've only got 3 months and then you're back on again overseas. So it's pretty back to back.
It's always so interesting seeing how different sports run their seasons, right? And sort of, off seasons and everything along those lines. Is it also a case of, so these events that you're winning, is it, comparable to like a World Cup? Like, I mean, kind of how do these events sort of work? Can you choose to go to some over others? I mean, give us a bit of a rundown, I guess, of how you can choose ones over the other and where it takes you across the season.
Yeah, so I guess there's sort of like two areas we look at is Europe and North America, and mainly in Canada. Within Canada, they actually run a super series for mixed doubles. So that would probably be an equivalent of like a Grand Slam.
Grand Slam or World Cup type thing, yeah. Very
similar, really, really high level teams, good quality ice, and it's a great event. So those are the events that we sort of look to first because we know the level of competition is going to be really high, which is going to push us to the next level. But basically then there's a few events that they run throughout Europe and that we're aware of just by playing other people and the history of certain events. I mean, some events have been running for like 10 years longer. So, just through word of mouth and being on the tour, what kind of events you want to target. But there's enough events to sort of tailor a pretty decent season how you would like it to look. It really just depends on the team. I mean, for us, we just look for good teams, good ice.
Keep going it that way. Do you ever have a moment where you go like, oh, I'm sick of Canada, I want to go to Estonia? I'm like, oh yeah, my pin board doesn't have this country on. I mean, like, has there ever been a time when you've chosen somewhere based on, okay, that's a cool place to go to?
I think there's a lot of events that we go back to because we like them. Like Banff and Canmore is one of the highlights always. Madison in the US is always a great event. They host such a fun event.
Yeah.
I think it's more about like what you hear of the best events being, and they're the ones you want to go to because it's more the atmosphere you get in the club. And, there's some countries too, like for me, at least Switzerland, I think is a fantastic country to go to just for touring, but also the curling is great. So I'd go back there in a heartbeat, but not for long because it costs an arm and a leg, but that's fine. But I mean, goodness, we got to start lobbying for having curling in summer. Like, I'm kind of sick of all the winter. It's goodness. You spend the whole winter and then you go home in May and it's winter, and then you leave and it's September and you're just finally finishing winter in Melbourne. Then you got to go winter again. So, it's a sport you can play in summer. Why don't we do it? Yes, it's more expensive for cooling, but come on.
I mean, it really is one of the winter sports where it doesn't really matter about the weather, does it? Like, it's sort of, you can kind of have that going on there. I mean, when this one gets built in Canberra, right? Like, I mean, that's a perfect opportunity. It's still in the same season. It's still at that same time of year, just different temperatures, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That sounds good to me.
Keep lobbing it. And as I keep pushing on this podcast for the Brisbane Olympics in 2032, I mean, that is technically a Winter Olympics for Australia. So therefore, I think if we got curling in those Olympics, they haven't built anything. They don't know what they're building there yet. So what's the harm in accidentally slipping in a plan for a curling rink in Brisbane? They won't know the difference.
Isn't it like July or August or something like that? Like that's the middle winter. Come on.
Exactly. It's July and August. Australia will be hosting our first ever Winter Olympics come 2032. Yeah. So, you know, the lobby that with curling. The reason I asked that too is I remember I think it was last year when I was in New York, they were having their US curling championships in their shopping mall in New York City. I think it's called America Dream Shopping Mall. I mean, it's got quite a large, impressive facility, but I mean, I can't imagine when you're traveling the world going to these epic locations that you think maybe, do I go compete in a shopping mall in the suburbs of New York?
I will admit, in Edmonton, they've got a really big mall called West Edmonton Mall. And they had a Canadian club championships there, which we actually went and watched a little bit. But it's really cool. You go to Tim Hortons, which is literally overhanging the rink. Wow. And you can sit there with your coffee, like looking over the ice. And if you really want to, you could just drop a little Timbit, like a donut hole, and pop that on the ice. Like it's that overhanging in a shopping mall. It's so fascinating. I think it'd be really cool, but I just don't know how good the ice would be, to be honest. The air circulation would be a mess. That's something you need to do to your competitors, throw Timbits at them as they're like, putting down the stones. Yeah. That's I like that. That's some good sledging material going on there through that. And we know how precious they are about Tim Hortons and Timbits. So it's almost offensive to them at the same time. Really getting in the skin of Canadians. That's what we've got to do. That's why you beat them in the Olympics. That's it. We're getting the secrets of this podcast. I love hearing about just that curling scene though in Canada and we've had Canadian curlers on this podcast before, so we obviously understand what it's a big deal there to them. But I mean, how do you find it explaining to your friends back home in Australia that you're in a country right now that literally curling is on primetime TV? This is the equivalent of if AFL or NRL is on TV in Australia. That's how much of a bigger deal it is, because I'm sure you've spent your entire life explaining what the sport is to people in Australia. You're in a country right now where it's basically up there with hockey as one of the biggest sports in the entire country.
Yeah, it is a weird feeling because often, we're at the airport and stuff and I still am like, there's curling on TV? What the heck? So it is still, it's an odd feeling how, like, they're celebrities over here. So it's Are you celebrities?
Odd. Do you get recognised by the Canadian curling fans at all?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, come on. There's got to be at least once. Like, surely.
Some of them.
Some of them. We had Colin Hilding come up to you one time, of course, to do that. Which, I mean, I've got to ask about that. Thank you for the video, by the way. We did share that, your lovely video quoting Friends quotes there at all. But anything interesting to share about Colin? Did he put deodorant on that day? Had he showered? I mean, I mean, not say that he often doesn't. The few times I've hung out with him, throwing him under the bus apparently. But I mean, it must be nice to kind of have that all of a sudden, like somebody like that, and pop in and share a weird little video request with you, essentially.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy, and obviously the Friends thing, that's kind of a running joke with the podcast. So yeah, we had a lot of fun with it.
I think I need to replace. I like to think so. He doesn't show up to these half the time, but that's. I guess he's got a family and kids. That must be nice for some. But I think we're going to replace the Friends references though, maybe with Kendrick Lamar references, because I nearly wanted to play you both on with a bit of Kendrick Lamar on there. I mean, give us the idea about that, guys, because that was a fantastic video.
Honestly, that's all thanks to.
It was not our idea.
Social guy Chris from OWI, he always we caught up with him before the Olympics, and he's like, "I'm gonna make you guys go viral." We did that like sliding out at the same time with like the head bobbing. And like you feel a bit goofy, but it's a lot of fun to just have fun with that sort of stuff. Oftentimes it's very serious and it's heavy questions, so it's really fun to do something goofy like that, and obviously that dance was going around at the time, so it was fun to be a part of.
I've got it on in the background right now. I mean, the moves are pretty good, but I mean, how many takes? How many takes did it take you to get there?
A lot.
Oh, you don't want to know.
Well, that was first try, actually.
First try. Exactly,
Yeah.
right? That's what you got to say there. 418 likes on that video. That's pretty good. I mean, I consider that viral, right? Like, what more does it need to do there? Are you Team Drake or are you Team Kendrick?
I'm not going to get into it.
I don't know that. I didn't realize there was a whole drama behind the two of them. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not in deep enough with the pop culture wars, so I don't know.
I'll be honest, I didn't really know much until I watched some of those explainer videos either. I think, to be honest with you, I'd heard like 2 Kendrick Lamar songs. I think I'm getting to that age now where all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know who people are half the time. And then you're like, okay, like how old I am. Also like how neutral you are there being in Canada right now. If you maybe said you are not Team Drake, you might be deported. So that's probably, Dean, you played that very well. I appreciate that. So, so good job. The other one actually I want to ask, while we're on the topic of things going viral and getting excited, before we get back to the competition side of things, you got to hang out with a certain Thomas Bach recently. Now, Dean, you knew in our conversation that this was coming up because I think literally around about the time I reached out to you to say like, hey, would you guys like to come on the podcast? It pops up on my feed. Here's my 2 favorite curlers standing next to my favorite president of the International Olympic Committee. I basically lost my shit. So, first of all, how do you get invited to the 1 year to go to Milano Cortina and represent the Australian Olympic team? And secondly, tell us about T-Mark. Does he smell nice? Does he shower that day? Like, give us some stories. I need to know more about him.
Yeah, honestly, we were really surprised that we got that call up. We didn't know a whole lot about it. We just got told that, you represent the AOC and going to receive the invitation to go to the Olympics for the country. So, we'll kind of just turned up, wore the special AOC jacket, and we get there and we meet Thomas, and goodness me, he was the friendliest guy you've ever met to us. I think straight away he grabbed Tahli. He's like, you come stand next to me, like for the official photo of the countdown. Yeah. And I was like, this is...
He knew who you were.
We all the dignitaries and like the mayors and presidents and all these people. And yeah, just get placed front and center. But he was a really good guy. He chatted to us and like made a real point to actually come up and speak to us. It wasn't us actually approaching him at all. So I thought that was really good of him. From what we've heard from the other dignitaries that were there too, they're like, he just loves the athletes. They love chatting to the athletes, understanding them. And it was kind of cool. The first night that we were there, we had the official function, the dinner with all the special people there. And we walk in there and honestly, that is well beyond our class.
Oh, yeah.
They were, very high-end, special buildings. And we walked in and we're like, this is very formal. This is not within our comfort zone, but we'll just go with it. It's fine. And he approached me and was talking about, where we actually were. And apparently it was actually an old fencing club. And a current fencing club still. It was the oldest one in the world or something, most successful fencing club. And we're like, this is a palace. This is not a fencing club. You got to be joking. Like, what curling rink is like this around the world? So that was pretty impressive. And then it's kind of a little bit awkward though. And then he says, but you're still not allowed to have female members as part of the club. So yes, it's very old school still, even very successful, but probably not with the times yet.
Wow.
But
that's
honestly,
crazy.
Fantastic guy. Really good.
How do you, like, Tahli, when you hear something like that, like, how does that make you feel? Because, I mean, like, it's obviously an amazing thing to be there, but it's like, guys, get with the times.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. I mean, I don't know. Just like, okay, this stuff is still going on. I don't know. Maybe they'll just have to have their own female only palace.
Yeah. Possibly. I mean, they have to do that. If Kirsty Coventry becomes the first female IOC president soon, then maybe she might have to go in there and have some words with them, basically, to fix that up. Do you find, I always love when you go to those things and it's, you feel a bit like, well, this is a bit above my class level. And then you get the food. Was it like very much on that level of this is how those people eat, but I just wish I could be eating something a little bit more because it's usually like this big and it's kind of just like got a leaf on it or something. I mean, how was the food? That's what I'm basically asking.
The food was great. I mean, it's Italy, so you're like,
true.
it's
Okay.
pretty good.
Touche.
But you're
Yeah.
right, the portion size was quite small, but we found that generally in Europe, the portion sizes are quite small and you kind of have like lots of little side dishes. It was still quite filling though, but yeah, I think it was more the service. I was like, wow, I have my own server. Like everyone has their own server. Yeah, just insane experience, like once in a lifetime. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny. They'd walk up to like all the waiters would walk up to the head table. We were sitting with Thomas and stuff. They'd all stand there with their plate and then all lower the plate at the same time, that kind of thing. But yeah, Tyler's right. The portion size, especially for pasta, is very different to probably North America and Australia, right? Pasta here in Italy is like your first course.
Yeah.
It's small, whereas over in Australia, it's like massive. It's huge. It's a whole
It's also
meal.
much better quality there, right? So it's probably like that sort of filling you up side of things, whereas here it's just crap. Like, just put it on the plate and eat and that sort of stuff. It must give you extra motivation though to, not that you don't need it to get back to an Olympics, of course, but I mean, to be in that situation where you are representing Australia at this pretty big function on the global stage. I mean, does that almost light an extra light in that desire to return to the Olympics and realize also that it's so close and that this journey that you've been on since Beijing to get back is getting a lot more real right now?
I think it kind of lit another spark because we were there for they have sort of like a countdown clock and like the 2026 symbol and sort of like in glass and it's all snowing. It's really cool actually in the middle of the city. And so that's where that first photo was taken that night. And I think like when it hit like 1 year to go, that was when it was like, okay, let's ramp it up. Let's go. Kind of 1 year to go. It's not that long. So that was really cool. And then I think too, when we were at the actual presentation and receiving the official invitation, just hearing the conversations, getting to know a little bit more about how it's all coming together in Cortina and Milan. And it is very exciting. Yeah, it's very exciting. And just having that inside scoop it's always good motivation.
Do you need any more Dean for it? Or was it basically, the motivation was already there to begin with, just adds a bit of extra spark to it?
Oh, definitely. I think it adds an extra spark. I think it was really cool being there. I think it's the Duomo. That's where the big church is. But out the front there was actually really cool. They had a whole setup for outdoor curling and they had outdoor hockey there too. And I was like, gee, that'd be a location, wouldn't it? Like right in the city center. If you could have curling there, that would be the best thing ever. Unfortunately, the weather wouldn't be too good for curling outdoors. But that would have been really incredible. But I think, yeah, to see all the promos, the videos of that official launch was just unbelievable. It just gave me that real hype and excitement. And even in the video, seeing other Aussie athletes actually from the Olympics doing really well. And that really energizes us to go to the next level.
What do you do with that official invitation? So here's T-Bark giving you an actual, like, we invite Australia. Do you have to like FedEx that back to Sydney to AOC headquarters? Or do you kind of just take a sneaky look and write your names on it so you're guaranteed to be there? Like, I mean, what do you do with the official invitation for Australia to compete?
Do that.
you should have done. You should have like put a little asterisk. Like, this is only dependent on Dean and Tahli being there, so that Ian Chesterman would be looking at that going like, oh, well, shit, well, they have to be there. So, otherwise Australia's not in Milano. Like, what do you do with it? Like, I'm so intrigued.
Well, we were staying at Gavarate, which is the European Training Centre for the AIS. And basically we pass it on to the people there. And then what happens with it from there, I'm not quite sure.
Not your fault from there if it goes missing.
I mean, I was expecting like a business class flight home. You get a seat next to you just for the invitation and you have to deliver it in hand and then fly back. But Apparently not.
Apparently not. Next time. I just think it'd be funny if, like, come the Olympics next year, all the countries are showing up. Like, excuse me, can I see your invitation? Can I see your invitation? Gets to Australia. Oh, you don't have it. I'm sorry. And then they come and blame you. Like, no, we handed it off to the AIS, like, out of our hands. So if all of a sudden we don't get to get into that stadium in a little under 12 months' time, you're not to blame, right? So, you know.
Yep. It's out of our hands.
Clearing that up. Just on that, though. So I was mentioning to you guys off there, I was reading the qualification process for the Olympics. Now, from what I can understand, there are 10 teams. Obviously, Italy's one of them, so 9 teams. The top 7 qualify based on points from last year's World Championships and this year's World Championships, and then the last 2 spots is a qualification tournament later this year. I hope I'm correct. If I'm not, correct me, but basically explain right now, us recording this in March 2025, how we're going to be seeing you in Milano Cortina in February 2026, once again at the Olympics.
Honestly, you explained that perfectly.
I've researched something correct for once, Dean, you're telling me. Thank you. All right. Okay, then. I nailed it. But is that the same as last time? That basically that was how the qualification went? Because you guys went through the the one I mentioned in December last time, right?
Yeah, so the last one was a little bit different because we missed out on the 2020 World Championships, which should have been the first year of Worlds and the qualifications. So it actually just got condensed to 1 year, which was 2021 World Championships.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID. And therefore, the top 7 that actually just finished in that event just went straight to Olympics. And then it was, plus China. And then it was the last 2 spots came down to the December event and the Olympic qualification event that we're in, just leading into the Olympics. So ideally, we want to avoid that Olympic qualification event. Although we have done it that way before, it's a little bit better if you can secure it at the end of April as opposed to waiting until December. And, in December, you lose that final game and you don't make it. You could go undefeated, lose that final game, you don't make it to the Olympics. So ideally, if we can do well at this World Championships and qualify directly, I think we probably need a podium finish to qualify directly. We'll see how we go. So
15th last year at the World Championships. So that, if I'm not mistaken, does that give you, I'm seeing here, 6 points? And therefore, to get into the top 7, currently occupied by South Korea, they're on 14 points. So you're sort of saying by getting on the podium next month, will it almost guarantee you that top 7? Is that it's just based on seeing where other teams basically finish and working out all the numbers at that point?
I think it gives us the best opportunity, and then probably does depend a little bit on what happens with the other teams, but that's out of our control. So we're just going to focus on finishing on that podium. A podium finish at the Worlds is going to feel great regardless. It'll feel extra great if it's guaranteed a spot to the Olympics. But I think you're right. The podium finish will give us the best chance to guarantee a spot.
And it's also, I guess, that case of then, Dean, as you were touching on, leaving it last minute to December, at least that way you're in. So therefore, for the rest of the year in the lead up, you guys can be working with a coach, going to events to really sort of fine tune everything rather than, I guess, spending the next 8 months thinking about December and sort of trying to work your way into that qualification spot for next year.
Yeah, and it's such a whirlwind from, as we experienced last time, from that December event. And this December event's actually going to be 10 days later than last time. So it just gets that little bit closer to the Olympics, where if you finish that event on the 20th of December, we're out on the ice on the 4th of February at the Olympics. So there's not much time, but it's probably 6 weeks or so between that, the end, finishing that event and then heading off to the Olympics.
Well, I'm going to put on my incredibly expert hat when it comes to mixed doubles curling right now and look at your group here for the World Championships next month. Okay, so Group B, Australia's joining. Okay, so we've got the Czech Republic. Now, I'm assuming decent. They're okay. Esther Ledetka's from there, so a great winter sports nation. So I'm guessing they're somewhat okay. Estonia, you just won a tournament in Estonia. No, 5th in Estonia, but still top 6, right? So Estonia, you've got them easy. Japan, it might be tricky. I think they're pretty good, right? Again, we'll get to me correcting at the end of this. New Zealand, easy. Let's be honest. You don't even need to show up that day. That's your day off. New Zealand, you're just winning already. Norway, yeah, they're pretty tricky, so show up that day. Spain, I don't really know much about Spain and curling. I'm sure they're okay at it. Never mind. Switzerland, good. Yep, show up that day. Turkey, easy. Don't show up that day. Another day off. And USA, I realize there always seems to be something going on with you guys in the US, but this is the time you're going to beat them. So my long-winded way of saying you guys have got Group B covered. Please give me some notes there on my judgment on all those teams there.
We love the confidence.
Got to be on this podcast, Tahli. Come on.
No, I mean, we feel really confident in our ability and the season that we've had. We've played a lot of the teams that we'll see in our pool, and we've had, good results and or good games against them. So we're just going to show up every game and
all right, Tahli,
really,
you've given the vanilla answer. Shut up now. Dean, give me the truth. Tell me who you're kicking ass, why you're not showing up against New Zealand. Tahli's done the proper media training there. Good job, Tahli. But Dean, come on, the real truth. I know you're the truth man here.
No, I 100% agree with Tahli. Sorry. We have to show up every game. Every team out there is, top 20 for a reason. And we've got to play really well to beat any of them. Mixed doubles is that volatile game where one miss is capitalized on very quickly, and suddenly, from scoring 2, you're giving up 3, and it's just like you can flip it so quickly. So I don't want to, take anything for granted, and we got to push really hard. You've got previous world champions here, top 3 or 4 teams in the world are in that pool itself. So it's a tricky pool. So we got to give it a lot.
Mm.
In all seriousness about New Zealand, how are they placed? I mean, obviously they last time the Olympics were in Italy, they had a full team, of course, back in Turin. But I mean, New Zealand curling, where are they at right now?
Well, the men's team was doing pretty good. Mixed doubles, they came through the world qualification, and I think they had a good run there. But yeah, I'm not quite sure where they're at the moment.
I'm trying to get you to talk shit about them.
They've won nationals actually a couple times, but haven't actually got to play for various reasons over the years. And they're a brother-sister duo, and we're expecting them to play really well. We've known them for years and years now, and they're fierce competitors, and you've got that rivalry between us. Australia and New Zealand, it's just natural, and we're looking forward to a good game.
Does it actually, legitimately, when you have that, as again, we know you guys probably play there a lot given the facilities compared to Australia, and as you said, you know them a bit, but is there something you always do find that when you do go up against New Zealand that maybe you just want to push it a little bit more because it is that rivalry that we sort of know so famously in our countries?
Yeah, it's always nice to beat New Zealand. But yeah, it's a good rivalry. And I think the feeling is, returned on their end. If they were to beat us, they would feel pretty good as well. But yeah, it's always good to beat the New Zealanders.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. How important is it though? I mean, you mentioned that you've both obviously been together since 2018, so it's been a long time. That's 7 years now. So that's a long time for a pair to be working together in any sport. And I'm not sort of sure in terms of the numbers how many pairs are returning pairs and sort of how new. But how important is it to have a pairing like you guys who know each other so well, know how to work off each other well? And does it give you a bit of an advantage over some of these newer teams at a competition like this?
I think for sure. I think knowing each other inside and out, and working together day in, day out for the common goal, I think is a really key thing for our team. We know a lot about how we throw each rock. We know what to expect from each other. And there are a few teams there which don't really curl together very much throughout the year, and kind of just put things together and rely on their pure shot making, which usually comes from their men's or women's teams. And obviously they're not playing together in those disciplines. So you still have phenomenal players that are paired up together, but hopefully that's our edge, is that we play together so much and train together so much that we can kind of capitalize off that.
And in terms of that confidence of how well you guys have been playing recently, do you feel that is tracking very well for this podium spot come next month's World Championships? I mean, compared to the last couple of World Championships, I guess, how are you feeling heading into these ones?
This is probably the most confident we've ever felt going into it in terms of where we're at, the metrics that we're tracking, because we do track all that stuff and all those sort of targets that we've laid out at the start of the quad, actually, and how that's been tracking over the course of the last 3 years. So we're really happy with how everything's going, and that obviously gives us a bit of confidence in how we're going to do. But, you know, Worlds is just, it's just that extra nerves, or it's, you know, people sort of ramp it up for that event. So we still have to bring our all and make sure that we really fight hard for every single game, because we really do want to go straight from Worlds to the Olympics. That would be ideal.
Start brushing up on the Italian. You could, you know, get the pasta, really get into the sort of the knowledge of it. Choose a Ferrari or like a Lamborghini, just, you know, get that high end, you know, Thomas Bach now, Olympic champion fencing. So you got connections, all of that kind of stuff. Because what number is this World Championship number 7 for you both? 6? Like you've done a few of these now.
Oh, you've
Put
put
them
us
on the spot.
No, more than we do.
19, 20, no, 20 happened. 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, coming up to 7.
Yeah.
7. Wow. I mean, let's be honest. That's longer than most people have jobs, relationships, like cars. Like, I mean, that's a lot. Like, I mean, you're just world championship addicts, I want to say right now.
Well, I mean, my next question is, in Australia, usually after 7 years, you get long service leave, don't you? So surely we can get some long service leave benefits out of this.
I mean, you're getting put onto the spot to get official invitations for the Olympics. You're getting given some pretty big privileges right now. So I'm assuming that's going to come, right? I don't know who your employer is. The Australian people, maybe.
I wish we made money to have an employer.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to get into that. New Brunswick, that's a province I can't say many people head to in Canada. Have you competed in Fredericton before, New Brunswick? Tell us about New Brunswick. What can we learn about that beautiful part of Canada?
We actually did compete in Fredericton at the start of the year, like middle of January. So we've been there. Unfortunately, the time that we went, it was like the coldest ever. They were like, this never happens in Fredericton. It's like minus 30. And we're like,
every day it was minus 30. Oh,
wow.
Like 35 degrees over the Christmas break to, well, we started in Toronto. So that was like minus 16, but super cold. I don't know what's going on in like Ontario, but the temperature of the coldness feels way cooler than like Edmonton, I think, because it's like damper. Yeah. And and then to Fredericton, and it was just freezing. But the snow, it was really pretty. Like, as cold as it is, when it snows, it is really, really pretty. So that's at least a positive.
And we've got this really good Airbnb there. So we stayed at the same Airbnb that will be for World Championships.
Yeah.
And it's right over the river. It just looks out from, it's almost like a cliff, and we're looking out over the cliff to the river, and it's all just like nature. You don't even really see much civilization from there. So it'd be nice to go back there and have that relaxing time between games to just chill and recoup before the next big one.
Yeah.
Watch some Friends, listen to some Kendrick Lamar, just kind of get you pumped up. What do you say to the Airbnb host? What are you doing here in French? Not just competing in a world championships for curling. I mean, if I'm an Airbnb host and I've got some people competing in World Challenge, that's pretty cool. Have an extra pillow. I don't know how that would work.
It can be good and bad with Airbnbs. Sometimes they do work out that we are there for curling, or they ask and we let them know, and which is sometimes really good. But we've had some really awkward situations. Like we had one Airbnb where we had this creepy guy that walked up to the front door and just peered in the window at us, and I'm like, this is not good. He just walked away, and then 10 minutes later he comes back and appears in the window, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. And eventually he knocks on the door, and I think he asked us if the place is available to rent. And I was like, looking at him, I don't think he was able to rent much around in that area. He was struggling a little bit. Wow. And I think it was just a cover story really for just maybe casing the joint. But anyway.
That's a long way from having dinner with T-Bark at a palace. That's
Yeah, we cover all ends.
But the thing is, we'll
wow.
get back to that Airbnb in about 2 weeks, so we'll see if he's back.
This is like bugger going viral of like Kendrick Lamar dance. But you guys need to be like filming some sort of like documentary style Netflix thing that we can get, because again, this is like, as you said, Tyler, covering all ends, the high to the low, the middle and in between. Like, I mean, you know, where is the Dean and Tahli reality show? Come on. I'm pushing for it. Get some money involved, like, you know, that way they can pay for you to maybe stay in a nicer Airbnb where we don't have creeps going through the window. Like, I mean, you know, come on. There's
that
sponsors.
was like a one-off. Most of our Airbnbs are really good.
Really proud sponsor of the Olympic Games, by the way, Airbnb. We do appreciate Airbnb. If you're listening, sponsor our show. We'll hook them up with some Airbnbs. They're along the way. Actually, I touched on it before too, obviously, the curling rink in Australia in Canberra. So it was announced a couple of years ago they're building this great facility in one of the suburbs of Canberra, and that it's going to have dedicated curling sheets out. Now, I tried to find out where that's at. It's sort of, I think, still in the process. It's obviously politics involved and everything along those lines. But I mean, how big is that going to be when we do see it? And how heavily are you guys involved in the process of making sure that these curling sheets, part of this facility, are obviously up to standards where you and future generations can train at?
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. If this happens, and hopefully it does, and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, having 4 sheets of curling ice in Australia that's dedicated is going to be massive for the sport. That's what we've always said we're missing, and across Australia, like, that's what we're struggling with the most, is actually getting enough ice time for curlers to even compete. Like, Melbourne, we're overflowing. I think Perth is basically overflowing. We can't even advertise for people to come in because we don't have any space for them. And that's a problem. Like, if we can get some dedicated ice, which, number one, has better quality, so we can actually make some shots and curl like everyone curls around the world, I think that's a great experience. But also to get more membership and be able to share that with so many more people across the entire year would be huge. So, you know, it sounds like that they're almost at a stage where they've getting those papers signed and they're doing the drafting of the building itself. And hopefully we can get that going and some dirt dug up pretty soon.
Well, you answered my next question about how's curling tracking in Australia. I mean, a negative that people can't play because there's too many, but a positive that it seems like a lot of people are now signing up, though, at least to play the Dean and Tahli effect. Everybody's wanting to play curling. So, I mean, it sounds like we're in a good position, at least in the sport. We just need places for people to play.
Yeah, it really is the lack of dedicated curling facilities. And I think Australians would really love curling. I mean, it can be such a chill sport. It's very social. You know, you have a social drink afterwards. You know, I really think that Australians would get around it if there was the dedicated facilities. And that was a huge part of our campaign at the last Olympics was, you know, trying to promote the sport, trying to get people to see why we love it so much and why it can be so enjoyable, and hopefully end up with a dedicated facility. So, you know, at least there's discussion around it. There's a progress in that way in terms of there's plans out there. It's just a matter of getting the facility built now. So hopefully that does happen. That would be awesome.
We do want the Dean and Tahli Curling Centre built, you know, while we're still alive, right? And look, and just to be extra controversial on this show, and I'm expecting either of you to answer it, but who do we need to vote for to make sure that it does get built? Which one of the, you know, is it Albo or Lord Voldemort who is going to actually basically get us the rink built? Who do we vote for? He does look like Lord Voldemort. People listening at home, look him up.
Honest, I have no idea who to vote for in terms of getting that done. So I have no answer for you, and I won't even refer to people as certain characters.
I guess it's not the good people.
Yeah, the best. Yeah, the best who will give the most money to curling. Yes, we want them to win.
We know if somebody gets elected in a couple of months, we've just been cancelled. But hey, you know, we speak the truth on this show, and if people don't know what the opposition leader of Australia looks like, Google him right now, and you will see what I said was 100% correct. I will add that. Speaking of looking, we're gonna wrap things up with a new set of questions to close it out, which I know you're both gonna love. Particularly because Tahli, last time around, you said you came prepared for quick fire questions, and I didn't even ask you any last time. So I'm hoping that a couple of years later that's still on there. We talked last time about experiences in Beijing and experiences with Bing Duen Duen, the beloved mascot. Which I know, Dean, you weren't exactly, and Tahli, you're on board with that. Have you seen the mascots for Milano Cortina yet?
Yeah, they're like ferrets.
It looks like a ferret, but it's not.
Yeah, they're stoats, which we still are trying to work out there. Milo and Tina are their names. Not quite Bing Duen Duen, but I mean, any general thoughts? Dean, have you come around on the mascot bandwagon, or are you just not really into the mascots yet?
Question, how do you spell Milo?
Milo. I think they're saying
Milo. It has to be. That works out so well, but we'll call it Milo. We'll give him that. But
we'll try to be Italian, right? Yeah.
Milo.
Yeah,
Milo. But I mean, they're cute, right? They're no Bing Duen Duen, but I mean, Tahli, you're definitely a mascot person, Tahli. So, I'm sure you're using that as inspiration for Milan Cortina.
Yeah, that was so cute. I mean, Bing Duen Duen has a place in my heart. Mainly because every single time, I probably spoke about this last time, but every single time without fail before we went on the ice, it was like, and presenting Bing Duen Duen, and it does like a dance, and I'm like ready to go. So, if Milo or Tina can do that again, we'll see. But, Bing Duen Duen just got so much hype. So
yeah. Well, fell over everywhere, stuck indoors. Dean, come on. What do we have to do to get you on the mascot train, Dean? Come on.
I do like the mascots. I mean, it's on my Christmas tree every year.
Okay.
Bing Duen Duen's there. So
we had Cherry on the podcast. Okay. Well, I don't have my Cherry on me, but we have our Cherry, our podcast mascot now, which we will get you a pin and something beforehand. But I saw in Paris, like talking about that, Tahli, like the pump up. I'd never seen like what they do with it. And Frege, who not as epic as Bing Duen Duen, let's be honest, but Frege still holds a very dear place in my heart. They got him out. He was dancing with the crowd. He was selfieing. He was doing all those sort of things. So, I mean, I think there's a lot you can do with a stoat. First of all, teach people what one is. And secondly, then get it involved with the crowd. Because it's like, a ferret. Do we like ferrets? Ferrets are good pets, aren't they? I've never had one.
I've never had one either.
No, like it's so cute.
I just want to establish the questions I have asked two Olympians on this podcast today. Are you voting for Lord Voldemort or Albo? Have you ever had a pet ferret? Does Colin Hilding wear deodorant? We are a 2-time award-winning podcast, and these are the style of questions I am asking Dean Hewitt and Tahli Gill today. So I bet you weren't expecting that today on the bingo card, were you?
No, we love it. Here for it.
It's the only reason why you do this podcast over any others, right? I can't even speak properly, let alone that. Before I get to the questions, I will say I've got my tickets to Milano Cortina next year. I've gotten curling tickets, but I'm sad it's not mixed doubles because all of that's in the first week. They're so shocked right now. I'm offending them. All of that's in the first week when I'm seeing ice hockey and I'm seeing speed skating in Milan. Then I fly to Cortina the week after to see the curling, and it's all the team stuff. So, again, Thomas Buck, can you get them to switch the schedules around so I can actually come see you in the second week and not the first week, please?
But hang on, our event starts before all the other events. So
you're saying
before the opening ceremony. So surely that first day,
okay. Well, what I'll do then is I haven't actually booked the flights yet, Dean, so actually you're a smart man. I'll have to get to Cortina first, backtrack. I'll work it out. I need to see you guys because, I've got to be there to cheer you on, I'll be throwing stoats at you, and I'll bring Bing Duen Duen back for you, Tahli, for extra inspiration, right?
Oh, I love Bing Duen Duen.
In the crowd. Do you have many family friends already sort of like going like, Italy in February, like what's that going to be like?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. They're like... So Italy, like we got to get there, but no, a lot of people are so excited, and I think because the whole like whirlwind that was Beijing and how we qualified and everything, I think people are really excited that and sort of like talking as if we're going. We still have to qualify, but yeah, like obviously Italy. I mean Cortina, because that's I think where the curling's going to be. So. Everyone's really excited and everyone's planning, how they could, rearrange and potentially go, which inspires us too.
Yeah, I think having family and friends there would be huge. I mean, we missed out on that last time, and that's one of the big motivators this time. To have them in the crowd would be just phenomenal.
Different broadcaster this time around, obviously, in Channel 9. Has your dad made sure that he's kept that resume fresh after Channel 7 experience and, gone over to Channel 9? G'day, Mr. Maguire. How you doing? I did some stuff back at Channel 7. Would you consider me to commentate during the Channel 9 Winter Olympics?
Oh, trust me, he still brings it up and he still would love to commentate. But it's a tough one, right? If you commentate, you're likely actually going to be in Australia for your commentating. You might not actually be there. And even if you were there, you're probably not at the rink. You're probably in some media center somewhere. So, that's pretty tough. So we'll see what he ends up doing. It's pretty cool having him commentate, but at the end of the day, having family there, I think, is the most important thing. And hopefully we can see them in the crowd.
Did he, I know we talked briefly last time about you'd watched some of the clips back, but I mean, had he just recorded it and come Christmas time, it's just I remember that time I commentated you on the Olympics, son. Is it just constantly Dad, we get it. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Move on.
No, the really sad thing is we barely have any of the clips saved of him commentating. All the clips that we were able to get were the OBS broadcasted ones, which have a different commentator. So yeah, it's very rare that we actually hear his commentating, which is a bit sad because I'd actually love to watch the games back with him commentating. I've only seen a few shots in particular, but not full games.
I may be able to hook you up afterwards. I'll have a look and I'll let you know. Not that I would do anything that would involve illegally recording anything, but hey, I might know a person. We'll blame Colin for that, right? Possibly. We'll get to that. Guys, since we last had you on, we've started a set of new end of episode questions. These are a designated 10 that we're now asking every guest. They don't change. They don't differ to the guests who are on this show. And these are fairly new. So you're still sort of getting these quite fresh. So we're feeling these out a little bit. We're calling them the OTP 10. Tahli, have you kept your skills up of quick fire answering since last? Because these aren't quick fire. You can take your time, but I just kind of wanted to put a bit of extra pressure on your shoulders today.
You know what? I am pretty good at blurting the first thing that comes to my head. I am nervous now. You have put the pressure on.
Good. That's why we like to build it up a little bit so that when you hear these, you might be like, well, they're shit. Go back to asking me about Voldemort. I don't know. Here's a question without notice. What Harry Potter house are we at? Are we all Slytherin? Are we on the Voldemort train? I just don't know why I asked that question. I just felt like I needed to follow it up with something so it makes me sound somewhat smart.
You're saying everyone's Slytherin. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I'm Slytherin. I'm definitely team Slytherin. You got to go evil sometimes, right? I mean, Snape wasn't actually evil though, was he? I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Snape. Anyway, Harry Potter coming soon to our spin-off of this podcast. All right. Question number 1, and you can just jump in with your answer, alternate. You do whatever fits you both best. What's the one thing you never leave home without when traveling to a competition?
Lip balm.
Lip balm. Oh, I like that one. Okay.
Yeah. It's so dry.
Yeah. What was that one, Tahli?
My curling shoes.
Curling shoes. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A lucky pair? Is that like a lucky pair that you have?
Yeah, same pair I've had for 3 years.
All right. Do you wash them or just let them? I'm really asking the personal questions today, aren't I? I don't know why I'm going with that one. I'll move on to D. What type of lip balm? What's our go-to?
It was Bliss X for a long time. However, it's one from an event actually, and they gave us 6 lip balms, and so I'm using that. It's gonna take a year to get through them all, but have to. It's so dry here. It's just it's a struggle.
I like that. All right. Yeah, got it. We learn the truth behind our athletes' routines. It's what we like to do on this show. What's a traditional superstition you follow before any big competition?
Wear fresh socks.
Wear fresh socks.
Everyone has the superstition of you got to wear the same socks over and over if you keep winning, and I'm like, nah, fresh socks. I've actually gone the opposite.
Fresh socks. Math. Okay, Tahli.
I sort of have one song that I listen to for the event, and I'm like, yeah, if I don't listen to this song, it's not going to be a good game.
Is it the same song for every event, or does it change depending on the event?
It does change depending on the event. Yeah.
Okay. So what was your last one? What was the last song that kind of worked for you?
The last song was The Man by The Killers.
Oh, good song.
And
Yes.
it's a good walking down song, and I walk down and I look at my competitors. I'm like, yeah, you're going down.
Yeah, that's a good song. Yeah, great song. There you go.
Yeah,
There's your viral clip. Like, dude, bugger Kendrick. Well, get some Brandon Flowers, some Killers, Like, that's, people can do that. You've literally answered the next question. The question is, what's a song on every one of your pre-competition playlists, no matter what? So, I mean, you said you changed it, but is there one that on any playlist that it has to be on there?
Well, it's not so much a song, but it's more like a soundtrack, like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack.
Hey.
Like the Riders of Rohirrim, I'm like, yeah, that gets me pumped up and ready to go. So,
play that louder for the New Zealand game to really get up their skin, right? Like, I'm using your music, mate, and we're going to take you down, right? Just zone in on them. Dean, do you have a song?
I like Right Here, Right Now, Fatboy Slim.
Yeah, good song. I like it. What's the most unexpected or funny DM you've ever gotten as an Olympian? And I don't know if this might be to your account or individually or...
Easier, Sugar Mama.
A sugar mama. Oh, yeah. What did the sugar 100%. Mama want?
She was offering some money to just,
hang
nothing
out?
bad. Just offering some money.
All right. Do you consider
it? Though. Not this time. Maybe next time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I might bump the Airbnbs up next time, right? Like, you got to do what you can,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tahli, have you had a sugar daddy contact you at all?
Yeah, I have had a few. Like, I'll pay off your uni loans. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Okay. Yeah, just talk to the boyfriend. Just be like, what do you think? Like, that's not a bad sum. Like, what's one date?
That's right.
Yeah. You're in a tough sport to fund, right? Like, you're not swimmers, you're not Ariane Titmus. You got to do what you got to do, So it must be fun though to kind of like read some of them because those ones are the fun ones. But I mean, do you get many like younger people messaging you like, how do I get into curling? Like, kind of a standard one like that at all?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and especially after the Olympics, there was a lot of people like, how do you actually get involved in curling in Australia? And so those are always really nice to reply to because, makes us feel like we've done something right by building interest, and especially in younger people because it was just me and my two sisters and, a couple of our friends basically, where other sports you're growing up, you've got, lots of young people around you and you have sort of more of a community. So I do enjoy those ones.
Yeah, I think you're 100%. All the nice ones are the best. I do a whole bunch of talks to school kids, and sometimes you get notes from them afterwards or drawings and saying they've inspired you, or you get the comments from teachers afterwards or even emails after those talks. And they're pretty special to say that you've, impacted them and hopefully inspired them to be their best selves. And whether that's to reach the Olympics themselves is pretty cool. But you definitely get some quirky ones too. You get the people that think that they should be on the Olympic team as well because, they like mopping at home or can sweep the backyard or whatever it may be. And that's essentially the resume. And I'm like, this is going to be really good. I love those people that come out and try just to see what it's actually like though.
I was one of those people until I tried it. So yeah, no, I definitely now on that. I want to make a suggestion to you both. We're talking about virals, and I know we sort of said in the lead up to Beijing, the Friends quotes would get you viral, and obviously the mics weren't on when you're doing that. I'm a bit iffy on those ones with those, but the one
100% I did. I still to this day I did those at least 2. Anyway,
right.
Go on.
You got to do at least 4 for me next year, Dean, right, to really prove it. But the one that will get you 150 to 200% viral next year, all right? When you throw down the stone and something good happens, you need to do the Raygun. You need to do the kangaroo arms. You need to get down and do sort of the lean down. Like, you need to live up to this and then really mix a bit of braking with the curling. Get her on board, contact her. Maybe you can put little ray gun stickers on the stones so that when they're spinning, they're actually kind of, breaking down the ice. I'm just trying to think of how this could go extra big for you guys next year.
It's clever with the sticker.
Right.
I
Right?
wonder how that's going to go down, but yeah.
You know Thomas Bach, you know T-Bach now, so you can get some lines going on there. But I'm just saying, anything Raygun will go viral for you guys. Raygun and Friends. It will just, everything will do it. And then you can get a collaboration with her. Easy. We know her. We can hook you up. Simple.
Maybe we'll have to have a chat.
Hey, I'm saving face with some of the questions I've asked in this interview by helping you out afterwards, right? So that's what we do. It's quid pro quo on that one. The weirdest thing that you guys have ever eaten at an international competition, and did you like it?
A pigeon.
A pigeon. A pigeon.
I ate the beak and half the head. That was definitely interesting and something I don't need to do again, but let's try it. I'll try most things.
Where do you eat a pigeon?
That was in China.
Wow. Okay.
Legitimately, wasn't at the Olympics. It was a different event, but it was literally like it was just sitting there. It was just fried.
All right, so sitting on a plate, you didn't just see it on the ground and pick it up. Like this was actually served to you.
I generally don't pick them off the ground to eat them most of the time.
To clarify, you're not that struggling for cash right now, Tahli. I could eat that pigeon. I can't stay in another Airbnb with a creep in the window.
Yeah, no, this one was definitely cooked. It was on a plate, but you look at it and you definitely know it's a pigeon. There's no hiding that fact. But
wow.
Yeah, I'll try most things.
Okay. Were you eating the same thing, or can you top that?
No, I was not eating the pigeon. Well, one time we were in Korea and they were, to film some content for World Curling, they're like, let's take you to the Korean markets and try a whole bunch of different foods. So that was an interesting experience. I think the one that I remember most, though, was squid ink ice cream.
Ooh,
which is
okay.
actually
delicious.
Quite good.
Wow, okay.
Such a roller coaster. At first, you're like, no, I'm not eating that. And then you try it and you're like, wow, it's literally like vanilla. And then you keep eating it. And then you see how they make it. And then you remember what it is. And then it doesn't taste like vanilla anymore.
Oh, that journey. Wow. Okay. I sometimes I get hungry off this show. Other times I'm just like, yep, I'm going to look at pigeon and ice cream differently from now on.
Although the avocado ice cream at the Olympics, phenomenal.
All right.
I have that a million times. But gelato and Milano Cortina, that's going to have to be.
Well, we're gonna keep an eye out on what the trend will be at the Village next year, because everyone talked in Paris about the muffin. So now I'm wondering what the Italians can do to make, top the muffin. So you're our go-to for the food on the ground to really tell us what that will be. So, Italy, France rivalry there. Speaking of food, what's your ultimate guilty pleasure meal after a competition? So once you're done, what's the food that you go to first of all?
We've already said what yours is going to be.
Mine's Macca's. Macca's.
No shame. Do it. Yes. Own it. What's your Macca's meal? What do you order? Nugs or what do you go for?
Yeah, nuggets, chocolate milkshake, fries, and you dip the nuggets and the fries in the chocolate milkshake.
Mm-hmm.
Sundae is pretty good. I love the egg bake McMuffin. I love it all.
It's such a shame they're not sponsored. Imagine if they were at the Olympics still. You guys, you would have rocked up you would have broken the ice every single day. You'd be eating it all the time. And why not? It's free. You'd be going for that. Dean, what about you? Are you a Macca's man?
Yeah, but for me, I'm a bit boring. My biggest thing I crave after an event is being home, having a lamb on the barbecue, Sam Kekovich style, with some roasted crispy potatoes. For me, it's a barbecue. It's the taste of home. That's what I'm just craving. Good
answer. You made the AOC happy with that one. That's why they invited you to get the letter, right? Go the Australian answer. I like it. Good one. If you could swap sports for a day with another Olympian, what event would you choose and how do you think you'd do? Can be summer or winter, by the way. We'll open it up for both.
I really want to try the aerials. I feel like it'd be so fun to just go up so high and cliffs and obviously land. That would be great.
That'd help. On your feet.
That'd be
you always land.
On your feet.
That just looks so fun. Yeah.
I think you get you in the commentary booth there for that. You always land.
Yeah.
I can see that. Laura, Danielle, get them to swap. Like they could be in the mixed, and you could do the aerials. They have a mixed competition in the aerials as well. So, that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Actually,
that.
we had all the winter athletes out curling earlier last year, and they're actually pretty good. So I reckon we can recruit a few talent transfers there.
Who was the best? Can you tell us who the best was out of all the athletes at all?
Oh, who were good? Bree Walker was pretty good. Actually, Laura's pretty good.
All right.
There were a lot of good athletes there.
Double, triple threats they're going on there. So if the bobsled or the aerials don't quite work, then at least they've got a fallback.
The obvious one was actually Brendan Corey. Like him as
he knows ice.
Ice loves it. I think his first throw, he slid like halfway down the sheet, and I'm like, goodness me, no one does this. But just tree trunks for legs, he just flies, has that power, right? So definitely couldn't do what he does there. Holy cow.
So yours wouldn't be speed skating then, Dad? Would you join Tahli in the aerials? What would you want to do?
I don't know. Like, look at how much you spend in bloody winter. I'd rather do something in summer for once. I don't know what I'd want to do. Something interesting would be like pole vault. I don't know why.
It's one of those sports that we've actually never had a pole vaulter on this show, but there are certain sports where I often have to say, like, how do you get into certain sports where you really have to question, like pole vault's such an odd one that you wake up, I want to be a pole vaulter, So yeah, okay, I like that. We'll get Nina Kennedy on the show, do a swappage, yeah, that could work. Yep. Gold medalist, get that vibes onto you guys for Milan, and I'm sure there's some correlation with curling. They've both got a long pole. I don't know the connection there. Actually, I saw your post, the branding, the stickers that you guys have on your brooms that you guys are pretty impressed with. That looks pretty cool. Like, do you get to design that? Do you guys sort of work with the guys to kind of design what that's going to look like on your actual brooms?
Yeah, when Balance Plus came out with that, we were excited because it just sort of adds a personal touch to your, curling equipment. And yeah, Dean spent a bit of time designing it. So we think it looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Any thought process? I know a lot of our summer athletes in the lead up to Paris got some T-shirts, like sort of to help fundraise, like team this, team that. We've got our Team OTP ones by now, by the way. But are you any plans to get a Team Dean and Tahli shirts out there, Gill Hewitt T-shirts ready to go for Milan?
I think might have to.
Yeah.
Got a logo there.
Yeah.
We can do it.
It's a nice logo. I'm going to be the first on there to buy one. So that's just why I like to help support our guests, and I want one. So,
What's the price range?
how much do you need?
We're eating pigeons, so.
Touche. Also for our listeners, when we get Airbnb on as a sponsor, right? They've got to get you off the pigeons. You need to have a pigeon on your shirt now. Like, there just needs to be pigeon on a plate. Like, you could create yourselves a mascot. Would be like a pigeon. Like, that's your mascot for the team. Oh, look at this. Brainstorming ideas. You guys are going to be rolling in the cash come Italy next year thanks to this episode. You're welcome. If your Olympic journey were a movie, what would the title be and who would play you and how many pigeons are in it? That's actually not part of it, but I'm just adding it in there.
Such a hard question. Oh, wow.
What would the title be?
Sweeping off your... I don't know. There's Men with Brooms as an actual curling movie.
There is.
Yeah, that's actually quite tricky with the actual title. But, we ask one hard question on the show, apparently. Right, we skip over that. Who would play you? We can maybe come back to that. Anybody out there ever been told to resemble anyone? Yeah.
We
trying to avoid that.
One time. I just think.
You stick to the Friends actors. You could just, have, I don't know, Matt LeBlanc and Jennifer Aniston. I was going to say Matthew Perry, but sadly no longer with us. But,
Chandler was always my favorite, so that's a bit sad.
Let's say in a world when he's still alive, you could have Matthew Perry and Courtney Cox just stick with Chandler and Monica. That could work. That'd be a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we be any more sweepers is the title. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Could we sweep
There you go.
There
done.
you go. Exactly. We were on a sweep. Lord of the Brooms, back in the Lord of the Rings title. I don't know. Why aren't there more curling like media and things out there? I mean, seriously, why can't we have a Drive to Survive for curling? I honestly feel like there would be some entertainment in there. You guys are yelling at each other all the time. We see it in all the ends. Like, has there ever been a prospect for some sort of curling documentary that should exist?
Oh, there was one. What was it? Was it? I don't know if it was it called Rivals or Losers or something? Might have been Losers.
I'll look that up.
I don't know.
I think it was Netflix. It was like one episode on each kind of sport, and one of them was curling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're looking that up. We're going to look that up. I thought Canada would be on board with that. That they're Married at First Sights would be called like Broom at First Sights or something like that. I don't know. Like
Watching maths.
Watching maths.
Oh, okay. I've opened up a can there. So you're addicts now to maths? Is this just come back from the rink every night and put on maths and see the latest episode?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's just I don't know.
I just love the dynamic. Tahli here is like, yeah, it's great, and Dee's like, oh shit, I don't watch it. What are you talking about? No, I watch other shows.
Yeah, it was definitely me.
Yes.
Initiating that.
Team bonding, right? That's how you do it. Now, I love this question because this is where I can also be thrown under a bus here if I've already asked this question. What is one question that you are tired of being asked, and what's the one that you wish people would ask you instead?
Oh, are you the broomer or the pusher, thrower, roller, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mine's probably, you must be really good at cleaning the house.
Yeah.
I don't clean.
No, we are not doing this in Tahli's bedroom, just so you know, because this would not be the look.
Not doing that way. But I mean, I like this question because like with what's one that you would wish people would ask instead? Because I mean, it might be more of a case of, be it a story from a competition that you've never been able to tell, or like maybe an aspect. Like, is there a question that you wish sometimes people would ask you instead about yourselves or the sport or something like that? Nothing obvious, clearly.
Yeah.
A really good one would be, can we sponsor you?
Hey, there you go. Look at that. Would you like something other than pigeon? Go that way with it. I actually wanted you to say, with the what's one question you're being tired of being asked, are you going to vote for Lord Voldemort? I'm sick of that question, right? Like, we don't mention that one. We ended on a deep one. This is I like this question. What is one lesson you've learnt more from losing that you think has shaped you more than winning?
That's a good question, because losing is actually a really important part of like life, even if it's not in sport. It just teaches you so much. Oftentimes it's like, well, that didn't really feel very good, so I don't really want to experience that again. Yeah, I think actually the biggest part of that is like what you talk about after the loss. Like after you lose a game, like what are you actually talking about, and how can you use that to fuel you or drive you? I mean, like MJ said it the best. Like it just drove him so much to be better. But you have to be quite resilient. Yeah.
And you mentioned Michael Jordan. It makes me happy. So that's a good way there. Anything to add on that, Dean, or you Tahli drop mic moment right there?
Yeah, I think that she said it great. I mean, for me, like I've missed quite a few shots to go to world championships and stuff like that. And my biggest thing is, it's not a good feeling, but at the end of the day, like go and shake the hand with your opposition. They beat you, and congratulate them for what they've done. And you've got to learn from that and move on. But it's not easy. It's a pill you got to take, and but you miss a lot of shots, but it's coming back from it and making sure that you make it a million more times. And next time you come back in that situation, you're ready to go and you want to take it on. You're not nervous about, oh, I missed this last time. It's like, I'll show you, I can make this.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That's why we end up with that question, right? Because it basically at the end of the day, you end up with a bit of motivation and you don't ask stupid questions that I've asked for the majority of this chat. So that how it works. Dean and Tahli, it is absolutely always a pleasure to have you on here. We're obviously going to wish you all the best of luck for the World Championships that are come and everything in the lead up to Italy next year. Team Gill Hewitt, Instagram. That's where the main place that people can follow you, correct? Are we on TikTok? Is there a Team Gill TikTok at all out there? Team Gill Hewitt TikTok?
No, we're just stuck with Instagram.
Yeah.
Us on Instagram. Follow our journey.
All right. So I'm wondering if all these viral clips of Kendrick Lamar and everything had reached over that way, but not quite. Guys, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I really do hope that there's more on the plate, literally, than pigeon in the coming months for you both.
Thank you so much for having us. We always love chatting with you, and yeah, there will be other things on the menu.
Thanks, man. Loved it.